Hey everyone, welcome back to the OJC's, the Jazz Tourist. We're going to be doing our second Toronto Jazz Walk video today. This time we're going to skip west. We're going to look west and we're going to check out all the great record stores on that side of the city. All right, let's pull up our map. Before we get into it, let's give the video a thumbs up if you're enjoying this content. If you're liking my Jazz Walk series, give me a thumbs up, or make sure to subscribe. Okay, so today's a little bit different. Because actually this is not really a jazz walk. It would kind of take you quite a while to get around all these record stores that I'm going to show you today. I have just 4 record stores to talk about today. I just did it this morning, so this is part of the inspiration for making the video today. But you could probably do this. I'm going to say you could do this on a bike, and it would probably take you about 5 hours, and that would include a stop for lunch, and of course digging in these 4 stores. The great thing about the west side of our city, or at least the record stores on the west side of our city here in Toronto, is that they're some of the oldest record stores in this city, ones that have been around the longest, probably some of the most popular record stores, I'm going to say, some of my favorite record stores. So let's get right into it. All right, so here's a map of Toronto. Here, let me make it a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to show you the 4 stores that we're going to talk about today. Again, I just went to all these. Let's kind of back up here and talk, and again, situate yourself if you're new to Toronto or if you're just coming in for a weekend. I know there's a lot of folks in from the States this weekend, including DG Mono. Deep Groove Mono, who I got to spend just a few minutes with this afternoon as well. So shout out to him. And so yeah, a lot of folks in for the long weekend, the 4th of July long weekend. Here we are in downtown Toronto. Okay, this is the core, the CN Towers down here by Lake Ontario at the front, or to the south of the city, I should say. We call it the front. I'm not sure why. The lakeshore front, whatever. Okay, and so as you can see, I'm just moving us over to the west side of the city. Okay, so there's 4 stores that I'm going to be talking about today. So this is not like a comprehensive list of stores. There are many other stores on the west side of the city. There are many other stores on the east side of the city that I haven't even talked about as well. But these are some of my favorite. I think these are the ones that I think tend to have a better jazz collection. All right, so what I'll do at the end is I'll make sure to put all the links for these stores, and then I'll add some of the other ones that I haven't had a chance to talk about. And then again, if in the past people have sent me notes, posted comments saying, hey Greg, why didn't you talk about this store or that store? So really love it when people do that. So feel free to throw down some comments in the comment section. That would be great. All right, so the 4 stores I'm going to be talking about today are Cosmos West, which is right here. Okay, there we go. And then the next one is Rotate This. Everyone can see that. So this is just, again, a little geography lesson here. Here's Cops Records and Sonic Boom. So this is Spadina. So those of you who have checked out the downtown record walk in Toronto will remember those stores down here. Again, so we're moving over to the west side of the city. Let's move our map over. So the first store that I want to talk about is Cosmos West. Let's actually pull up there we go, their Instagram. I actually checked, and they didn't have a website. Most record stores are, I think, prefer Instagram because they're able to do exactly what's going on here, which is upload some images. I've also got some images as well that I took today, and some photos of the wall that I took today. And so I'll show them while I'm talking here. And again, it was great because I got to finally meet Rich from Deep Groove Mono. So a big shout out to Rich. He was able to find a nice LP today. So very happy that he was able to find something in our city. And also just another shout out to Rich for all his great videos about digging and collecting in Japan. I think those are actually some of the best kind of jazz walk like videos out there on YouTube. So thanks, Rich. All right. So Cosmos West. So Cosmos West has been around. Let me just pop back to Google here. They've been around since, I'm going to say, the late 90s. Let's have a look. So 1998. So they're a real institution in Toronto. They actually have two stores. There's one just around the corner. Let's see if I can find it there. So there's Cosmos West there. Could have pulled it up. Sorry. It's actually just on either this block or the next block. But this, if you're interested in jazz, okay, blues, soul. There's also a nice Brazilian collection there. This is the store that you want to check out. I think the listing says it's on Queen Street. This is Queen Street here, but it's actually in the back of this building on Queen Street. So it's really on Palmerston. So if you get lost, I'm just gonna zoom in here. That's actually not right. Actually, the Cosmos is in this building here in the back. Again, I just want to make sure people want to help out people when they come to the city, or if you're new to the city, to kind of get your bearings. I haven't been to Resolute Records, by the way, but hey, let's talk about Cosmos. So Cosmos has been around since 1998. I talked about what it specializes in. Again, the genres, it is probably, I'm going to say, in terms of the collection of jazz, it is probably in the top 10 easily of record stores that I've been to in the world. Maybe if you take out Japan. Outside of Japan, I'm going to say easily it's in the top 10 record stores, I think, in the world. There's a large number of OG copies of, again, the major presses, Blue Note, of course, Prestige, Impulse. You're going to be able to find anything there. There's a lot of Japanese versions of, again, all of the major presses, bands, and musicians and artists. They have, you can again check out their Instagram, and they do a pretty good job of showing the wall. I've taken a video of the wall. Why don't we have a look at it now? Okay, so you can kind of see that there's a nice mix of jazz and some funk, groove, soul, what have you. There's also, so there's another section. So one side is kind of all the kind of collectibles, I'm going to say, the jazz collectibles, the new arrivals of jazz collectibles. And then the other side is kind of everything else. And so there's a new arrivals bin there too. There are a few Blue Notes and others in the non-collectible side. And I'm going to say this is usually, well, I'm going to revise that statement. This is where I go and buy records in the store, because the prices are better. They're not those incredibly rare albums. So I've probably picked up a dozen albums, including a couple of CTI albums there over the years. But the collectible side are they're pricey, right? They are you're going to pay. If you want to find something, you'll be able to find it, but you're going to have to pay for it. So that's the trade-off of Cosmos West. So it's a great place to go if you want to show someone, like I did today with Rich, like a great store and a great collection. It's a great place to go if you want to buy a present, like a one-off present, so you don't mind spending a little extra money, and your friend, your partner, whomever, is looking for a very particular rare and expensive album. So that's Cosmos West. All right. So let's bring up the map again, make it bigger. Let's zoom out. So this is a great street, by the way. Queen Street is one of the best streets in Toronto, if not the best street. There's tons of boutiques, lots of bars and restaurants, and you can walk for, I'm talking 2-3 miles. And it just becomes more and more interesting and more hip and more artistic as you go along, particularly past Trinity Bellwoods. So again, if you want to do this for a walk and you just want to hit a couple stores, I encourage you to kind of start over here at Cosmos on Bathurst, or even back up and start at Spadina or one of these other record stores that I profiled before. Walk all down this. It's a fantastic shopping street past the Great Hall. I saw Cortex play there the other night. And you want to, sorry, I've gone too far. And then you want to head up Ossington with an OSS. Let's see if it comes up there again. Anyway, Ossington Street. Okay, and you want to head to this great store called Rotate This. This is my go-to store. This is where I probably buy, again, when I'm in Toronto, when I'm record shopping in Toronto, I'm going to say half of my collection comes from this store. We've got a couple pictures that I took today. I'll throw those up as I'm talking here. So this store has also been around since the 90s, I believe. It used to be down on Queen Street, and they moved up here on Ossington. Again, a very interesting street. A lot of restaurants on this street. This is one of the kind of restaurant streets in Toronto, between Queen Street and Dundas Street, which is where you'll find Rotate This. They've been around since, I think, the 90s at this location, since for about 8 years. So maybe about 4 years before COVID, they moved up here. Staff are great, very friendly, very helpful. Really well organized store. They have a nice wall of new LPs and reissues. In terms of genres, they have a really good rock. I would say it's really good for rock, pop, and indie, and it has also very good in terms of they're both used and new. I'm going to say the rock, indie, the alt, used stuff is very good. So, and they also have, of course, a really good selection of jazz. I think this is the place to go for reissues or new issues. This is where I go. So something's just announced. I usually watch their. I didn't bring it up actually. Their Instagram, and I head down there. Okay, so again, jazz, soul, and some African as well, a smaller selection, but pretty decent soul and funk. And there's at least, I'm going to say, 8 bins of jazz. They also have, they've been doing this for maybe 2-3 years, or since COVID, they put all the new the new arrivals, the used arrivals, in those kind of milk crates, and they put them on the floor when you come in. So those are all the like serious digging, which is great, because whenever I come in, I see they've obviously bought a big collection, but it's kind of on the floor, so you have to kind of kneel down, and after a while, if you're not 18 years old, your knees start to hurt. Anyway, boo-hoo. But always find something good there, and I'm going to say, well, there's always been something on the floor over the last number of years, as I said, since COVID. Great stuff. Find lots of stuff. The other reason why I'm highlighting Rotate This, and why obviously I go there so much, is I think they have the best prices in town. Especially, as I said before, if you're looking for the, What's Just Come Out, the reissues, the Tone Poets, they have the best prices. In fact, it's not my opinion. They just have it's fact, right? They have the best prices. So if you're looking for something new, if you live here, or if you're just coming for a weekend, as I said before, this is the place to go. If you're on a little bit more of a budget, or if you're budget conscious. Alrighty, okay. Let's let's continue. Let us continue. So we're just continuing to head west here. And this is called Dundas Street. So again, you could do this on public transport. It would take a little while, but it's still good. There's a streetcar. Those of you who live in cities that are just on buses, there's a great streetcar that goes along Dundas. There used to be a fabulous record store called Short Stack. Unfortunately, they have closed, so I will not be talking about them, obviously. Head all the way west on Dundas Street, and you'll get to the last two stores I want to talk about, High Notes and Tonality. All right. High Notes, and I've got a couple pictures that again I'm going to show you now about High Notes, but our High Note, sorry, High Notes. So the thing about High Notes is that it's also a cafe. I think over the last year, I'm going to say year or so, they've been having more events there. So definitely check out their Instagram. Let's scroll down. You can kind of see. Here we go. Yeah, there's someone spinning here, I think, in this picture. Oh wow, there's some action going on there. What else? Anyway. Oh, well, okay. There you go. So I've been to High Notes. They've been around. I'm going to say at this location that is the Dundas West location for about. I'm going to say they opened this store right after COVID. So what is that, like for a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago? I'm going to say maybe they opened up during COVID. They also have a store west of Toronto, one of the suburbs west of Toronto. I think it's called Mississauga, is the town that they have another store in. It's, as you can see, it's a cafe as well. So the upstairs is really nicely curated. I've got a video that kind of shows you how kind of swanky it is. All right, so it's quite a beautiful space. Upstairs are I'm going to say almost all everything upstairs is almost all new LPs, all new vinyl, new arrivals and new reissues. And then if you go down, check out this, go down to the basement. All right, and I got a video here. You will see that this is where all the used stuff happens. Okay, is spread out. And there's typically about, I see that as today was reorganized, and there's probably about, I'm going to say there's about 6, 7, maybe 8 jazz bins. And I'm going to say for this store, High Notes, that first things first is that again they have a spread of all genres here, but again they have decent jazz. Check out their website. Their website, not their Instagram, but they also have a website, and I think they list a good portion of their jazz LPs or their collection, or of all their LPs, or maybe it's just their more collectible LPs. So before I went down there, I did check it out and thought, is it worth going down there today? And it was. But what else can I tell you about High Notes? It's I think before it was kind of obvious that they sold collections, that obviously they bought big collections. In fact, the first time I was down there, I bought a few LPs, and as I went up there, the owner said to me, "Oh, so you found the collection for the coaches collection?" That's what he called it. I'm like, "The coaches collection?" And he goes, "Oh," he said, "That's not why you're here." And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And apparently it was the old coach of the Toronto Raptors, who had been fired just a month previous to when I was there, and so he went in and sold a big portion of his collection. So in my collection somewhere is I benefited from the firing of an NBA coach. There you go. You heard it here first. All right, so again, it used to be lots of collections that would go in there, and that would dictate what kind of things you would find in the jazz collection. But it's gotten thinner. You can tell it's gotten a thinner number of good LPs, and they've kind of filled in for the lack of used LPs with um, with reissues, high end, analog productions, Vinyl Me Please, those $80, starting at $80 LPs that are for people with the audiophile blood running through their veins. So, so, so that's kind of, as you can tell by the cynicism of my voice, that's not necessarily the kind of LPs that I buy. I buy some now and again. But on the flip side, on the more positive side, I did notice that they have some LPs, that some of those audiophile reissues that go back for a few years that might be difficult to find. And not a lot of stores have Vinyl Me Please versions of reissues as well. I found I saw a Gary Bartz one there, but again, $80+ I really want that LP, but I'm just not going to pay that kind of price. Anyway, so if there's a particular one that you're looking for, they had a very good selection of audiophile LPs, or jazz LPs in particular. So that's something to check out if that's your kind of record buying profile. All right, so let's just head over to Tonality, which is just a few doors down. It's like, I'm going to say 4 blocks down. And from High Notes, this store is, I'm going to say it's been around for about 8 years or so. It's got a little bit more of kind of a DJ vibe, and it's got this logo that totally looks like Vinyl Me Please or something, doesn't it? Speaking of Vinyl Me Please. It looks really familiar. Anyway, maybe because it's probably pulled off of. Anyway, I'll leave my critiques behind. They have a pretty sizable used collection in here. I'm going to say it's much better for kind of rock, punk, and indie than it is for jazz or blues. It's really like 2 or 3. Yeah, there's about 3 bins for jazz. Pulled out 1 or 2 things, but didn't really buy anything. I think what's so interesting about the store, and I'm going to roll a video now, is the gear. There's some really great gear at this store, and the staff here are really fabulous. And I'm going to say that every time, without exception, actually, and I've probably been in the store a dozen times. Every time I've been in the store, someone has come in to either ask about some gear or get advice about gear. Again, vintage gear, or they bring in their gear to be repaired. So the folks here are super great about their vintage gear and about your vintage gear. So highly recommend them. Super friendly folks. So jazz LPs, okay, hit and miss. Definitely a little bit more miss than hit. But if you're looking for rock and other genres, I would encourage you to drop by. And definitely, if you like to do some gear shopping or just to just browse and see what they have. They used to have their gear on the website. I'm not sure if they do anymore. But anyway, that's Tonality. So anyway, folks, I hope you've enjoyed the content. Again, please feel free to give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Jazz Tourist Jazz Walk. Take care, everyone.